Right, we're here at the JP Neil Pride Distributor Conference, and today we have the head board designer Werner Gnigler with us. And you're gonna talk us through about the boards and yeah. So, but first of all, how long have you been shaping the JP?
JP, I shaped right from the beginning when we introduced it in 2000. That was in the Pride group. So since that, I've given all the shapes, windsurfing, supping, wiggling, everything.
I love that.
But before, I had experience with F2, 13 years. So I think I'm the longest lasting shaper in the business.
Yeah. All right. So, but we're gonna talk through the boards a little bit. Of course, Ultimate Full Wave came last year. Shape.
I also have some, what I don't know, when you started shaping board, you have some shack somewhere in the world you were shaping, huh? Back in the days.
Back in the days, it wasn't really a shack, it was a factory.
Yeah.
I started shaping in South Africa because I was in the racing team at F2 and was very much involved in the development. And that's how it evolved. We were testing in South Africa and I had the opportunity to work with a friend of mine who had a factory. And that's how I started shaping.
But back then you didn't have any programs, some reading, drawing on paper and your lines with your head? Or?
Yeah, no, I start right from the beginning. I worked with clear numbers because it doesn't make sense. In the old days, shaping was always a kind of the art and you went with the flow and this kind of image. But I realized, if you want to improve something, you need numbers. Okay, that's what's better. And I drew already templates on because there was a sale loft, the same building. So I always took the template material they used for sales. I made outline templates, and I had already solid wooden crocodile templates. I made sure everything comes out as I wanted. And over the years, they would get more technical. And nowadays, it's a lot of 3D programming, CNC cutting, but still you need to finish that boards and it comes out the way you want.
I can kind of feel that the structure has always been there. I've always felt, the feeling of an Pride board, so maybe there's something to do with that. It's not like a lucky shop, everything is really so. But today, the board today, now you still work with the factory, I guess, to make the boards, but so you can actually can you do the prototypes also in the factory which made the production board?
Yeah, that's where I changed to my own factory in South Africa. I also had CNC facilities, but now it's much more efficient, easier if I have all prototypes made in the factory. First of all, they have all the CNC machines, everything I want. And another nice thing is I can use the materials which we can also use in production. So whenever I do a prototype, it's already the next step what we can do in production. I try to use the same materials, which I can use in production. And then that's the way for production, everything at the same time. Also, it wouldn't make sense to build a prototype with some crazy expensive carbon and then you put it in production. It's totally different.
Exactly. So when we talk about this, there's a new construction on the Ultimate Wave, one of the new construction coming in some models, but also a little bit. How did it come up? The Ultimate Wave is a new waveboard came last year. That has been really successful, at least for us, and I know a lot of people really likes it. So how is that concept coming up? How does that work? Is it like you work closely with some of the riders, I guess, and
sure, yeah, the riders they have to compete on the boards, so they're very much involved and they wanna get the right board for the competition, for the riding style wherever they are. And obviously the Ultimate is our most extreme board. It's the name already, as it says, but nevertheless it's a board which works best, great conditions, side to side offshore. But we also made sure when we redesigned it that it works in a much wider range of pools. For example, Canaries, we had Marino joined the team this year, came I never talked with him. He sent me the boards to London, won the competition. So what more can you want? So they work really well. Uh, and it seems that we did a good job in the development, cover not just Maui or like Cape Verde, that's the super ready to the boat, but also who got ready there.
And actually, people are riding the. I mean, of course, they're riding prototype because you need to develop new products. But often you see them. Our rider, LJP riders riding production boards also.
Yeah, sure.
For sure.
As I said, Merino just out of the box, normal boards, nothing. But the guys in Maui, obviously they go to Jaws and stuff like this. You need a special board, you know. But in the World Cup Tour, since the events take place, kind of at spots where we all go sailing or where we all want to go sailing, and even if they go to a good spot, the conditions can be really bad. So they need a board which covers it all, and they mostly into production boards. They only have for extreme conditions custom boards, but for the medium range of use, mostly really that.
And then should we talk about the new shape
Yeah.
of the S-Tech? I mean, it's like I really like the S-Tech, so I want to hear everything about it. But I also want to hear about the shape, which I really enjoy myself. We have been riding it here. A lot of the bigger volume boards because it's small waves and you want to do a little bit gusty around the corner here. But even if it's been 4.7 wing, but takes us through about the construction.
Yeah, most obvious thing is you see all the layers sticking out. But over the past couple of years, all the team rider boards I did, I worked already with kind of this layer. Because this is our lab, you know, that's the opportunity where we can really test. But they were always painted, so you couldn't see what's going on underneath. Because in the past, also like people kind of, they saw a layer like separate and they said, what's wrong? Could you do a bad paint job? And we decided, okay, we're gonna go all the way, make the lightest, strongest boards possible. Because the waveboard, I didn't say stiffest because that's what we don't want. That's what we want with the slalom board, the freestyle. But the waveboard, we want it light, strong, and we still need that little bit of flex like surfboards have. Because if you're turning, kind of want a little bit of response, like skiing, you know. And this is why we combine a lot of special carbon fibers. You can see they're unidirectional, and they're in an area where there's more impact or where we want more reinforcements around where you put your feet. And the rest, the top layers, is like S-class, which is super high quality fiber, but gives a little bit of flex.
Is this the black? How much is it carbon?
You see that the unidirectional fibers are carbon, and so that means you see the strips, it overlaps here. So it's double carbon where you put your feet up to the side. Then it goes to the heels, also there, and we have underneath, just here we put patch. Doesn't make sense to put everywhere the reinforcement the board gets heavy. So it's very only at the area. You can also see here the diagonal goes over. It has a patch of reinforcement because that's very jump, but that's where the heat goes in. And kind of rather mass based, but you don't need it in the nose area or the whole bottom. We also wrap an extra layer of just rail tape around which overlaps. So if you reinforce the rail, it's like almost like a stringer, because this is the best support of the construction if you reinforce the rail. So it's very detailed, lots of layers, not like in the old days, full layer over the board, off you go. So it's like a puzzle, which we specify 100% mixed centimeter here everywhere.
Yeah.
So that's how we were able to reduce the weight. Additionally, we save on the paint job. Because you want a perfect paint job, you need primer, filler, painting, but then you get this perfect surface like on the car. But obviously, it's very heavy. And the weight of a windsurf board is so critical on the feeling. The board feels so much more alive, you have so much more fun. That's why the weight is so critical to the board.
Yeah, it is. And you can really feel this one compared to the one I have at home.
Yeah.
The lightness, and it gets crispier. and it's coming out of a turn in the wave when you don't have any power. It glides out.
Yeah.
It's not. I mean, there is a difference in the weight on a wave boat for sure.
Yes.
And on every board, I guess. But here,
Half
you
a
can-
kilo, almost half a kilo, and as you said, that the crispiness, the response, this is the layup of a board. And also that's why a freestyle board, for example, you want as crispy and responsive as possible, because they need that pop and they need to go super high in the air, and when they land they want response for a double or triple move. So this is very critical.
Another feature, the fin. Last year there was spiky bottom.
Yeah, since we reduced the weight and we worked on every detail with the ultimate wave, all our team riders and most of our customers ride it as a pod setup, so we decided what's the point of putting an extra box in, extra weight, which hardly ever gets used.
So, but tell us a little bit because of the design, because I was like jumping on it this spring, and there was definitely something special with it. I was there's some flow in the board that I really haven't felt before, and then also it's really good on the rail and top turn. So it was. I had one day sideshow spot in the morning and onshore in the afternoon. Yeah, I needed to go to the onshore because I felt this is so good, so I need to try it in the onshore spots. I was like, yeah, it felt different.
So the performance of waveboard is the quick, that you can change the rail quickly, rail to rail performance. So over the ultimate is the narrowest in our line, so it makes it easy to go from side to side. But I think that the secret of this shape concept is, I looked at a lot of waveboards in surfing, and surfboards these days, they all have a concave kind of between the legs, and also on the windsurfboard I put it between steps. The concave ends up even on surfboard in a flat center line, and we all know a straight flat center line or scoop up the line is fast. Like all freeride boards, slalom boards have a flat section. And by using concaves, you can use flat section and adjusting the depth of the concave, the rail changes totally, the rail line. So in fact, you go from concave to flat to V, and also clarity, the whole rail line is super curvy once the board is railed up, and the center line is flat. And it's
This is a single concave.
single concave throughout here. So that means I have the acceleration of the flat section between the legs, board rides high super fast, and once I raise up, I make use of the very curvy outline. That's to optimize. But obviously this board is the narrowest tail because it's designed to work in super powerful big waves, and then you just need the control to hold the speed. But also if you look at modern wave sailing, it's the speed people riders have now these days. Amazing. I think if you watch a video from the old days, it was slow motion, and now it's top speed, and then it's how they do these mega aerials because it takes so much speed through the turn when they want to hit the lip, and you need designs like this to be able to do that.
Yeah, if you look at the Hokepa contest, it was actually, I've never seen it so close to surfing. And some of the guys surfing the Hokepa was definitely top to bottom, acceleration from the board, and also, of course, the new sails. But yeah, it's an evolution, it looks amazing. But this board, this is a little bit wider in the tail compared to the old one.
Yeah, the previous generation had a little bit narrower tail, so that was one point. Obviously, you lose too much in the low end and in the onshore, and it also becomes a bit nervous if it's big. So the top guys didn't mind because they just go for it. But if you hesitate a little bit and the board is a bit nervous, and then you want to go down the face and it's really fast, and it becomes nervous. So this was one approach to improve the stability, the control, and also
and everything moves back then a little bit, or strap position.
On the ultimate, the strap position stayed pretty much the same, but the thruster setup moved a little bit back. The fins are a little bit closer together, so it makes them also loose. So kind of took the nervousness with the wider tail went away. Since we moved the fins a little bit back, we were able to adjust the radius anytime, and it gives you the flexibility in the waves to not just go in one kind of radius at one arc or more in this.
This fin setup felt really good, but this board is so customized, so it's not coming with fins, right? You need to choose what fins you really enjoy, kind of your favorite. You put your favorite pair on this board. It's like a surfboard.
Yeah, because we thought that all the guys who are more into the wave riding and that discussed, they all have kind of their favorite fin setup or fin style, and we decided, okay, we can give them a better price because they have their favorite fins anyway. Even though we developed fins, all the other boards come with our fins. They work great, but if you have fins at home, which you really like, you don't need fins on a new board, really.
A lot of waves, that's just definitely something in the box.
Yeah, and it's only good for the shops. You guys can sell extra fins.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, I'm happy with everything here. I don't have any. It comes from 75 liters up to 101, is it?
Yep.
Yeah. So it's easy to find the board you need. Yeah, that was fun. I really enjoyed the 93.
Absolutely, me too. And the 101.
Yeah. Yeah, also you've been riding the 101.
Yeah.
Should we move on to a big success for us?
Yes.
It's another success for us, but I mean, this is more numbers that we sold on the Ultimate.
Yeah. So it's a new Magic Move. Came out last year.
This year?
This year, no, sorry, this year. Yeah.
It's a couple of
Yeah,
days left.
it's exactly. Yeah, but quite a new concept in the board for sure.
In this segment, we wanted to create a new class in the free move segment. Because there's a lot of boards out there from 90 to 110, 115 liters, which either too wavy or too sporty. And we talked a lot to our windsurf centers, and they have this target group. There's a lot of people out there who are able to sail smallish sails, strong winds, but they all have one big problem. They struggle to get planing, and they have a big problem to finish the jibe on the plane. So this is something everyone's looking for. Like we did surveys with different magazines, and the number one answer is always what you look for in a windsurf board. It's always early planing. So if you have a too wave-oriented board, people struggle, and on the other side, to performance, that's also a problem. That's why we looked into it in detail and said, okay, let's make a special board for this target group, which is huge. And it really paid off. The feedback is amazing. All the centers ordered this board because they say, for this target group, it's a perfect board.
Yeah, and you can really, and it's compared to like a freestyle wave, which are 3 fins set up, and you can go single fin or 3 fins. This feels a little bit more, it's a little bit wider tail, so it's get going, right? But then you have this, which I like, and I can see it's coming from, it's also in the surf industry, there's coming more and more high volume boards because people want to have a wave, they don't want to miss out. So then I see the step deck on a lot of surfboards, which are actually, I don't know where it's coming from there, but you have it's definitely much thinner and grippier when you jibe. It's like you can really feel it when you use the board.
Yeah, the idea was because to improve the early planning and the jibing ability to stay on the plane, you need to go wider and sit on the tail. But then sometimes if you have quite good speed, you run into the problem that you have too much rail in the water, you lose the grip. That's why we played around a little bit with the rail shape. They didn't want to lose too much volume in the center and don't make it too pitchy, so I kind of created this step tail so that it combines this good thing about both worlds, volume and thin rail.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then it's pretty parallel outline, which makes it glide faster.
Yeah, to be able to get landing, kind of, you need to create maximum surface kind of in the midsection of the board toward the tail. And that's why I kept the outline rather parallel. therefore, if it's quite turn, you don't need to go super wide. Because if it's super wide, you also end up with the problem that it's hard to rail up and half turns. So try to make a very efficient outline, slightly longer than a freestyle wave, slightly wider but not extreme. And the biggest problem is obviously movements. Another important thing is the rail shape. Because you try to rail the board up and carve through the turn, you need a certain flotation because this target shoot is not on the level where they take go full speed and really carve through the turn like slalom guys do or the wave guys do. They're a little bit slower, more gentle, and they sometimes have a little wobble in the turn, and you need a rail which has no flotation, a stable flotation, not fact rail in front, it's really the back, and then the board starts sinking. It's a very constant volume distribution throughout the rail, and it just keeps you going. It's very forgiving. So there's a lot of attention on the rail shape, and this also leads to the deck shape. It's very smooth curve, so you can use the outside and the inside position, and you never overstretch your ankles. It's super comfortable to run.
I guess it's come with 4 straps,
Yeah, sure.
but here it's more wavy conditions or bump and jump weights. So we have 3. Here I've been riding the 90.
Yeah.
I really enjoy with this setup, and then maybe the 110 in the outer position. What I felt really we're talking races. I mean, it's pretty thin. I mean, it's not super fat in the middle. Right?
And that's why what I said earlier, it's a bit stretched out, and I try to have a very constant volume distribution. Just like wakeboards, you need a rather thicker midsection because you want super thin tail. But this would end up with a problem with this kind of board, because when you go slow through a chive and the rail is really thin and all the volume is in the center, they would sink again. But this is what we want to avoid with the design for it.
Yeah, it was really nice. Sometimes when I'm doing free ride board, if it's too chunky, maybe it's some older shape. But I can really lay down on this one and sink it down a little bit, even in the flat water. So it was just going pretty smooth. Here I was hanging on my front feet. But there's also the extra support if it's really slow and you want to go around. And it's not it's like you said, it's not like some. If I would take the freestyle wakeboard here when it's really gusty, you turn around that guy, you stand on the back and it sinks.
Yeah.
This one was really stable also. There was a lot of flow in the board. Okay. Do we have? We actually have some.
Yeah, that's
special edition here.
Something that it's really nice that you always get the JP. Even if you don't know it's not the biggest market for the kids, but you got the kids board, and this year you even made a new board.
Yeah, the kids are the future, so we have to really offer them special equipment that it's easy for them to learn how to windsurf. That's why we have 3 different models for the kids, from the beginning parts and now something in between. We picked existing shape out of the Magic Move line, but we adjusted it to the needs of the kids. Kids are not as tall, they have smaller feet, so we put footsteps closer together and also the distance of the flags closer together, that they have a good support with their smaller feet and don't slip around in the footsteps. They use smaller sails, so the whole standing position, the trim is different. That's why we needed to adjust it, and this works really well for the kids. And they have their own gear, They always kids don't just want to get put on some board which is around, they want to feel, there's something for me, and it's the real thing. It's not a Mickey Mouse board, it's the real board, and just adjust it and made for the kid.
And JP, we have also. I mean, you have the young camps together with JP in Pride from back way back. We even had it in Sweden, and you still have those camps. We heard Manfred from Pride talked about that yesterday, and it's a big success. And you're really investing in this, and So it's really nice to see.
Absolutely.
We will definitely have them.
Yeah, we all need kids groups. You know, if you have one kid, you put them on a windsurfer, they won't last because they're on their own. As soon as the kids together, the parents must stay away. They do their own thing. They have fun. They play, no matter if it's windy or not. They jump on the boards, throw each other in the water. And once we manage to get few kids together with camps like this, then we have windsurfers, and they will love it because they have fun. That's the way to move forward. And in any sport, you know, as soon as you get a group together, then it takes off.
To a really exciting board. It's been really popular back home in Sweden for us, and we took it out the other day, fully stacked on what we had: 5.5s, speedsters, under 115 liter. And I was thinking, okay, I'm gonna fly away, but it's really, you can really put it down, raise it away, and so, and this year it's right? It's a new shape, right? Yeah.
Right, it's a total new shape. Free-ride segment is the biggest on the market by far. That's why we have 3 different lines. You know, we start with the Magic Ride, which is super easy, very accessible, easy to learn to child. And we have the Super Sport on the other side, which is almost like the slalom board. But there's a big gap in between, and that's what always the Super Ride. It was always very successful for us. And that's why we also decided, okay, after a couple of years, we learned a lot throughout the development cycles. Okay, it's time to update the shape. And that's what we did. We didn't want to change the basic characteristics of the board. So the basic dimensions stayed pretty similar. I just made it a little bit wider in the center and quite a bit wider the tail. So this gives you already indication. It plans earlier, and it takes you planning through the child also easier. But the target group for this board is that it rides smoothly over choppy water. Our freeride customers, they often inland on lakes, you know, in choppy conditions, and they want a comfortable ride. If the board is super wide, it moves around, it gets pushed by the chop. And with a slightly narrower freeride board, it just glides over the chop and the waves much more comfortable. Not only the outline is responsible for a comfortable ride, obviously also the bottom shape makes a huge difference. It evolves then. That's why we use a combination of various shape details. In the nose area, we use quite a pronounced V with a double concave, because this is the area where you kind of sometimes hit the water when you hit the chop. But in the first place, I try to give the ride at the board a very loose riding position that you hardly touch the chop. So this is the idea. So if you power it up and you're cruising, with the design we use, the board sits very high on the water surface. Since we have a slightly wider tail, it's very controllable. It doesn't mean that it flies away. So I want the board to sit high on the water, but goes for it and it's stable. This is the key. And to achieve that is that we use a quite flat section between the footstraps. All freeride boards and performance oriented are straight at the back, but this in combination with the pronounced V, flatter section here and then slightly pronounced V at the tail, the board just glides super high, super controllable, and you hardly feel the chop, and this is the secret of that board.
I had definitely that feeling. If it's choppy condition with speeds to 5.2 and 5.7, powered up on wave says 4.5. But when I jumped, we had that one in the Magic Move, and you were changing, and I thought 150 liters. I was on 90. Then we went out. I was like, so much control. Surprised. If I would have the slalom board, I would be out of control. But I felt a lot of trust in this one. Yeah. So I was just going downwind and had a blast, and jibing was like, I needed to look at the shape afterwards. It takes the chop so good, then it splits the water. You don't see it. It's something special with the board, definitely.
Yeah, for sure.
And this segment, all boards we need to find the good balance for the target group. You know, it's not a racing machine, but we need to design a board for the consumer who has the riding skills they're looking in for a board like this. So the whole stance, where you put the footstep, where you have the rail shape, how much pressure you can put on the rail, how it flies over the water. This is all like details we really have to think when we design a freeride board. You know, it's not that we use the same idea like on a slalom board, footstraps all the way out, and say, okay, you have to learn how to use these straps, or you can't windsurf anymore. You know, this is the secret of a good freeride board. That all these little details, the deck shape, the foot straps, how far back, how far in, and the volume distribution, it just suits the customer. And
I really like the deck shape here. You can move your feet.
Yeah.
Even you just touch the foot straps here. I remember some when I done really downwind. It's so comfortable. So some boards are really, the curve is like pronounced. This is more a longer curve. I felt it was really comfortable to use.
Because it's a longer curve that you can also use the inside position. If you put your hard rail, you have your heel on the rail, and you couldn't move in further than the strap, because then you overstretch your ankle. So that's why we made it more smooth, more forgiving, and it's also much easier to get in and out the strap. Slalom guys, they just in, lock, go for it. But this target group, they need to adjust a little bit more their stance and the jibe and everything. So very important to give them all options.
I was really good. I remember also jibing when you do a little bit slalom, put your feet down. It was a little bit choppy outside. It was really like a platform, just gliding.
Yeah, I think
Cheating
it's like a super versatile board. You can go with a two cam sail, really freeway seat. That you can go with a ride, either not passive and just playing around. So I think it's a great runner for sure.
And it's coming with. Did it come with the tattoo box before as well?
Yes, because this board is still foil ready. You can also put a foil in, and we also developed a new fin for it. You can see it's a very constant rake and a very constant volume distribution. It goes the same direction what we talked about on the boards. The balance and the stability is key. That's why I worked on a very, as I said, constant volume distribution, constant rake, so the fin performs in all aspects neutral. You know, it's not that you have a super wide base, narrow tip, then the load always changes. If you kind of let go a little bit, then sometimes only the base works, or you lose all the power on the tip. That's why I developed this outline and this profile, and since it's a bit narrow at the base, it's much faster than the previous model.
Nice. Sounds promising.
Right.
Okay, now we have something
The racing machine.
black in the
Formula
corner.
1. Okay, so this is also been a hit, and obviously this year it's new construction.
The S-Tech.
Aztec, yeah. And so tell us a little bit about the new. Is it the same as the waveboards, or how do you think about this?
No, the S-Tech on the slalom board has totally different demands. It needs to be super light and super stiff. So we use high quality carbons throughout the whole deck, throughout the whole board, because we all know it's the strongest and lightest material we can get. And we only like do little patches where you need, especially on the slalom board, the nose area and the area where you don't walk around is much smaller. So you can really use small patches where you really need them on the heels mostly, and just when you jibe, when you put your foot out. The rest is no reinforcing, nothing, to make it as light as possible. And also with the finishing process, there's no paint. As you can see, we show everything. Because to hide everything, you need primer, you need paint, you need another layer of paint to make it look perfect, and it's a lot of weight. And this is Formula 1, the lightest, strongest, stiffest technology to get it put into this board.
Yeah, and so and also for this year or for next year, it's doing 2 new boards.
Yes. Slalom segment is still strong. Fin slalom, there's now kind of it's a big split. in the racing market. The one side is for pure foiling, but there's a lot of people out there who still want to do thin slalom racing. Or it's not just a pure racer, but there's a lot of really good windsurfers out there who want to be the fastest in the bay or in their spot and race their friends. And they look for slalom boards. You know, they have the camber sails, they have the great fins and everything, so they want to go fast, and they have the level to have fun on these boards. That's why we introduced new two sizes, the 66, 105 liters, and the 76 with 125 liters. These are like sizes in between, which are great for the the hobby racer kind of. You know?
Yeah, that's a good that we have some. I mean, the demand has been really good for us. It's actually growing on the slalom boards for us. So to have some more sizes is really good. So they can really find the right one for them, which are just. I mean, we don't have a lot of competition. We have one series in.
Yeah.
They're doing the slalom race for the season, and people are not, having a new line, a whole new line every year. I mean, so it shows one to change and something good coming. But those cuts, are they like you just cut it, or how do you test this?
Yeah, this is the most work, because if you look at our slalom range, every single size has a different look at the tail.
Yeah.
So in the past we always kind of wanted to use the same, also to make it easy to explain why we use this cutout setup, but each board needs their individual tuning. And when we develop these boards or testing the boards, the prototypes I make, they all have a solid piece of PVC foam, a foam which doesn't take water. And then I start with a certain tail cutout. And then we start testing. And then the riders say, okay, I want more release, I want a higher water position, or it's flying away, I need more control. And then we can control the performance by extending or shortening the rail line. That's how we trim the board. Like sailboats, they have flaps, how they do it. But the only way we can do it is by using these cutouts. The cutouts came on the big Formula slalom boards, because when you're going fast and you have big tails, the board always wants to kind of rail up a little bit. That's what we want to do to make it fly. But if you hit the chop, it starts going from rail to rail. And if you have such a big tail, you always get the pushback. So if it goes up, this area hits the water, so it goes back the other way. But that's why we actually did the cutouts, to make the boards ride more stable.
Okay.
It wasn't so much the idea that it's less wetted surface and less drag. That was a benefit which came along. And then we started playing more and more with the cutouts. But as I said, it's all about control and how much release you have. That's why the smaller boards have a shorter cutout, it only starts here, and the bigger one, it starts here, because they're so big, they have so much wetted surface, and we can take away more. And on these ones, we need to keep the control. That's why we pull the normal rail far back, and then we only start cutting away. Yeah.
So you actually spent some time when you said you put some PVC block, you can actually cut the prototype and go out and test it, and the same board.
Yeah, that's why.
So find out all
It's the only way to really find out quickly is to do it right on the beach. I have a router with me on the beach. The guys sail, they come in, we draw a line, we cut, they go out again until we go too far, and then I have to go at night to the workshop and fill it up again, and then start all over again.
It's a good idea. Wow, that was a lot of news.
Absolutely.
Actually, news for me as well.
Yeah.
I learned a lot.
You
Really
have
enjoyed
to
that. Yeah, and you also took the time early morning
Yeah.
on
thanks
this
for that.
distributed meeting. It's been a conference. It's been amazing here in Brazil, huh?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Really enjoyed it. And I've seen you a lot on the water every day, and you're one of the last guys in the evening coming up. It's like winging. It's a lot of foiling now, I've seen you, because all the boards is done. And
Yeah, but I like the evening session because it's quite crowded here on the water. A lot of people sailing. So that's the best time of the day. And
Yeah, yesterday was like Werner, Thomas from JP, Mumfrey were out. All the staff people were the last people up.
during the day we also have a lot of meetings and stuff.
Yeah.
Talk to the importers and so on. So in the evening we all make sure.
Yeah, but it's nice to see that you're not, a lazy just taking a beer. You're
Uh,
going on the water
But
full
it's
power.
good to see, as you said, Manfred and all our crew. We all windsurfers,
Yeah.
from the heart. We love the sport and we fully into it, and that's why we put so much effort in new products and invest the time and money because we love the sport and we want to offer the best products for our consumers.
Yeah. Oh, thanks again, Werner. That was a good presentation. Hope you guys will enjoy it. I would, I guess.
I would.
And I really would.
I did.
Yeah.